Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show!
Welcome to Wholesale Hotline number 219. My name is Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, Mr. Talk to People, joined by the flipping master, Jerry Norton, and Cody Barton. Cody Barton, have you been on the show yet?
I think I was on in the first, somewhere in episodes 1 through 15.
It's been too long.
Yeah,
Pace Morby's business partner in so many different endeavors. We're going to be talking about today scaling past being a solopreneur. Jerry, flipping genius. When did you scale past being a solopreneur in your real estate business?
Probably way too late. That's for sure. I think I just didn't have the tools. It took a while to acquire. I think there's so much more available today than 20 years ago, Yeah. I think I ran around as a solopreneur for probably 3-4 years before I started to really bring on a team and really start to build the business out. I don't think I actually really scaled until I left my real estate market. We left Michigan and hit the road on an RV trip. And then I had no choice but to figure out how to outsource most of everything because I just couldn't do it anymore. I wasn't available to do it. So then by default, I had to start thinking about, okay, well, who can do this better than I was doing it? And how do I get the right people in the right place? So it kind of forced me to do it, even though I should have done it way sooner, probably.
I love it. Well, you said something a couple episodes ago that has stuck in my head, Jerry, and I think it's just absolutely brilliant. They were talking about who's your first hire.
Yeah.
And Jerry took us to a totally different place.
Yeah.
He was like, your first hire is the people that do the stuff around your house. Right?
That's so true.
The people that are not their wives or whatever. Or your kids. We have some audience members here that are pointing at each other, but the people that mow your lawn, the people that wash your car, the people that take care of picking up and dropping off kids, if you have that type of thing, or a nanny or something, you know what I mean? Something that can free up your time so you can be super focused. And I thought that was really, really, really a really smart answer. Because it is true. Like in the beginning, the more that we can pour into our business and really get the momentum going and the leads generated and and putting income in first position, the more that we can start really growing. But I will say this, in every business that I've been in, as soon as I hire somebody, a couple things happen. One, there's typically a dip in sales instantly. Okay. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. And two, profitability obviously dips.
Yeah. 100%.
Right. So that's really the question here is how long do you stay on the court and when do you go to the owner's box?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think I think to Jerry's point too, it's getting somebody to be cleaning your house, getting somebody to, taking care of landscape, taking care of a lot of those miscellaneous things. I mean, that's a big one because I think everyone underestimates all of their personal stuff that they have to take care of on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, that they're just like, oh, well, it's not work related, so it's not really delegating. But, if you could free up 5 hours a week of your time from all of those things, you're focusing that on the business. And, to your point on the sales dip, it's I definitely see that with, especially if it's in a sales role, if it's, bringing somebody into, a business and
What's up?
Jamil Damji in the house.
Hi, guys. Sorry about that. Oh, never late, but sometimes.
Hey,
life happens.
There it is.
Yeah.
Traffic happens, right? Yeah. So we were just talking about, as far as like, when Jerry, got to a point where he was, building his business beyond just himself and actually having a team to help him with things. And, where Brent was talking about how when you're bringing someone new on, especially in those early stages, a lot of times your sales are going to dip and, and then you're going to be less profitable. So it's kind of that, okay, do you just keep having the high margin, but do everything for everything? Or do you, have to go down that path? And, I think especially on the sales side, typically for most people, you are going to be the best salesperson for your company.
Yeah.
I mean, you bring in a salesperson, you close at 20%, you bring them in, they're closing, 15%, 10%. It's just, it's.
Have you been able to diagnose where that disconnect comes from?
Will you pull that closer to you?
Yeah. The question I asked is if Cody's been able to diagnose where the disconnect comes from, because you're right. You're absolutely right. There's you in your business, and then there's others in the business. And not to say that they're going to bring their best, right? But there's a different quality that comes from the principal in any company, right? A different quality of operation, a different quality of
pride.
Of what?
Pride.
Yeah.
Pride in the work.
How you show up. All of the things are different, right? Because it's like a baby.
Yeah.
Right. It's like your child, and how do you tend to your own child would be a little bit like what you'd be
100%.
tending to your business. And so, but I had stepchildren and I raised them like mine. And so I know that there's a way for you to love something as much as something that you birth.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so how do you make that transference? How do you get the people in your team? Like you've got people I know there's folks on your team that are TTP all the way. I know there's people at your organization who are like, I'm like down for the cause. Bobby, for instance, down for the cause. Yvette, down for the cause. I know that there's people in my world that are like that. Very rare to find. But if we could build organizations that had more of those people, or if we were able to attract those people at a higher degree, I think,
I just feel there's this amazing episode of The Office.
Yeah.
Where they show Michael Scott's check, right? The check that the manager who has the closed office has. And it is just pathetic. And they're all like, oh my gosh, Michael, like, do you need a loan? Do you need some money? Do you need some help? And it's like, what's going on? And I'm telling you, right, Jerry, like this is most entrepreneurs. They want to replace themselves so much and get out of the day-to-day grind of it that they take a huge hit on the actual income that they take home.
Dude, there's, I'm transparent with my team.
Yeah. And
I had a very honest conversation with them. There's aspects of things that I do in my work that I haven't made money on for over a year. Right. And I'm like, hey guys, just so you know, this, and this I've been doing. I haven't made money in this thing for over a year. I'm doing this because of just sure commitment.
Yeah.
Because it's what I effing do. However, y'all have made money because I paid you guys to be a part of still putting this thing and getting it done. And so just letting them, or at least understanding the reality of, so not only have I not been making money on this thing, it's been costing me money for the last year because I'm that committed to doing this piece of my work, right? Which I think that doesn't come unless it's your thing.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, when we're talking about like salespeople specifically, it's like you might have, and so we were actually talking about one of the businesses that we had bought, the plant guy, luxury plant business. And we were literally having a conversation this morning where he was like reviewing the close rate percentage for the sales team. And he was like, I can close at this rate, but they're closing at this rate. And I'm like, but you know what you're doing, Matthew, is you're out networking and creating bigger opportunities while they're still closing and still generating the same revenue. Maybe it takes 3 reps to generate what you were generating, but you're now able to go do bigger projects and bigger things, even though they're not hitting the same. And it's like, and I think it's that thing that has to happen at some point is that initial maybe first person that you hire, maybe it's a lower check, but at some point, you get the right people in the right seats doing the right things. And then it's like, well, if you have 2 reps and they could generate as much as you can on your own, but you don't have to do it anymore, that's not so bad.
Right.
But it is that first person that you bring in, you're
who
like,
is that first person? That's
I mean, it depends on the business, I think.
okay.
Mhm.
Let's because I think the majority of the folks that are watching this are going to be wholesale business
Yeah,
operators, right?
yeah.
And you have an extensive amount of experience
Yeah.
in scaling that operation. When we were at at Squad Up Summit, I
Mhm.
had done a presentation on scale and the specific type of hire that could be the first person, right?
Yeah.
And I think depending on the kind of organization, if you're trying to build a Keegley versus if you're
Mhm.
trying to build a, Brent Daniels
Yeah.
lean, mean,
Direct-to-seller,
direct-to-seller
Mhm.
wholesale machine,
Mhm.
typically that first hire is that very versatile person that can wear all the hats, almost like another version of you.
Mhm.
Would you say that that's typically what you've seen, or is there somebody more specialized and specific that you recommend?
Yeah, so what I look at first is like, what are the skills of that business owner? Like, everyone has their own unique skill sets that they're coming to the table with, right? And so maybe if that business owner, like for me, for example, I don't love doing sales. It's not like where my zone of genius and like passion is. So like for me, if I'm I'm doing direct to seller, whatever model, I'm generating leads or I'm generating opportunities, but I want someone else to be able to actually close those. One of my first hires might be a salesperson, because I can get the leads, I can pass them to a salesperson, I can dispo the deal, or I can acquire it to flip it, or whatever that stage in the process is. But really, I just look at like what are those natural talents that individual has, because some people they lean towards one side or the other. And obviously, as a business owner, you have to kind of do a little bit of everything. You have to figure out and be competent at the thing. But I always look at like, what is the thing that I could delegate to someone that it can take me, so I could focus more on my zone of genius and do more of that, and have them be able to move that thing along. Or for the salesperson, they're just like, I just want to sell. They might hire that operations coordinator type role where they're like figuring out leads, figuring out contracts, figuring out like, just get me on phone calls so I can just sell people stuff or get a contract, and then please let me not have to do a lot of the other stuff.
You know what's really interesting that I am hearing Cody say, that I think for the most part, people who let's just call it what it is. Okay, you get a few good deals under your belt.
Let's do it.
You got a couple of
Feeling
good wholesale
good.
checks. You're
Yeah.
feeling great, man. I got a 40-pounder. I got another $35,000 check and another
I'm out. I'm out of
$18,000
the
check.
business.
So
I'm hiring
I'm
everybody.
rich. So
Right, Jerry?
what people do is they use that money to hire somebody that they think is going to replace them.
Right.
Do you hear what Cody just said?
Yeah.
Cody said, "Hey, what's your zone of genius?
Mhm.
Keep doing that, dum-dum.
Mm-hmm.
Keep
Don't
doing.
stop
Don't
working."
stop working. This isn't your chance to fade to black here. How old are we? Remember, work is our duty. No. You got this idea. You made $100,000. That's time to retire, man. I'm done.
I'll tell you what. When I was 22 to 27, getting anything over the 5-figure checks, bro, I thought I was like,
You're retired.
oh my! I didn't even know about taxes. I didn't even know about that business partner, that sneaky business partner I had called the IRS. I was just like, this is amazing. I am balling out. I'm gonna replace everything. I'm gonna get people to do everything for me. I'm
Right.
such a genius. I am. Look at my vision. I've got big plans, and I love being a leader.
So good.
And I'm reading books on the biggest business people back in the day.
Yeah,
and
you're
their
like Ray Dalio.
biographies.
You're looking at
Oh,
yourself.
yeah.
You're just calling
Yes.
yourself Ray. You're like, oh yeah, I'm a master of the universe. But it's the facts, right? Is that somebody just wrote in the chat here, duplicating yourself is a great use of time. Listen to what we're saying, brother. That's not what we're saying.
Yeah.
You're not going to duplicate yourself. You are you. You are uniquely you. You're going to hire somebody that you're going to find what their zone of genius is, and you're going to help them explore that and allow that to come and bless your business in their specific way. And when you're hiring for a certain type of person, look for qualities that are not your qualities, because this idea that you're going to hire yourself out of your business is why you lost the $100,000 after you got those 3 checks.
But you give it back to the market. I mean,
Right.
you get the money. First of all, your financial thermostat that was set from the time that you were born to the time that you were 12 is set too low. You need to be hanging out with people that have way more than you and provide way more value, so that you don't go out there and blow it all because you think that it's endless and, and every year is going to be great, right?
And
like you
more-
don't get to
more
the Hall
than
of
the
Fame
next.
having one good season. You know what I mean? But that's how we feel when we have 0 in our account. Now we have $60,000. It's like, oh my gosh.
Well,
you know what I mean? Especially if our
I-
family's never had that. Go ahead,
So
Jerry.
what I often see happen is, you're the solo person, you're running the whole show, you're the janitor and the CEO, right? And then you start to scale. And the problem is you're not yet a leader. And you start to scale, you start to hire, but you're not developed into a good leader yet. So for one, you don't attract really good talent because good talent's not going to follow, low level leadership. They're only going to follow high level leadership. So you got like subpar talent. You don't really have processes because you're still trying to figure it out. So then what I see a lot of business owners do is they go through this phase, and then phase 2 of like the scale phase, they're like, man, this is worse than when I did it by myself. I made more money all by myself. And so then you got 2 choices. You stick it out and develop and go through that process. And it's hard and painful and hiring and firing and developing yourself. And then you get to that next phase. And then now you're like a legit business, or you go backwards and you go back to the solo. And that's why, if you think about it, 80% of businesses are probably subcontractors, solo owner operators. They're not businesses.
Right.
And that's because they never make the transition in that middle phase. Like, I have a partner right now in a wholesale operation, and he's doing like 50K pretty consistently a month gross. The problem is it takes the same bit of team to do 50 as it does to do 250. Not quite, but roughly. There's economies of scale, right? So I keep telling him, I'm like, we're set up to do 250, but we're only doing 50. We're just not dialed in. We don't have the right thing going. We're not there yet. And what do we got to do to get there? And it's going to be really no more people and no different marketing, just getting really good at what we're doing, getting really good talent. Now, all of a sudden, that same overhead's doing 250 that was doing 50, or whatever, 200 that was doing 50.
Yeah.
That's when you transition out of that beginner phase of growth where you're just not a good leader yet. You just got to know that, right? Like, you've never done this before. It's okay. Stick with it, keep developing, and you can hopefully grow out of that. But instead of just go backwards where, you're working 80 hours a week, but you're taking home all the money and you got a high paying job.
Let me go around the table just real quick, Jerry, and we'll start with you. Like, where do you think your zone of genius is? Where do you think that at this point in your career, what has made you be at the position that you're at? You know what I mean? Like, what do you think you're the best at in your operation?
I definitely test as very, very high visionary and very, very low integrator.
Right.
So like, I'm the opposite of Cody. Like, Cody would be like the smartest thing I could ever do would be to bring a Cody into my organization, because I'm up in the clouds. I'm thinking of all these great ideas. I'm thinking about, like, so in real estate, my best skill set is like putting a deal together, but then seeing that deal to the finish line, I'm not so good at.
Right.
And that's where I drop the ball often, is now seeing it through.
But everybody, Jerry, people are going to hear you say that, and they're going to want to be there now. They're going to want to be chapter 28 like you, and they're in chapter like 11. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, chapter 11.
Okay, chapter 10. We won't. Yeah, hopefully not chapter 11. But you know what I mean? Like, so how do you make sure that you stay in the saddle long enough to where you can develop those skills and actually earn the right to put together an effective business plan? Because that's all a vision is, right? I mean, it's just putting together what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, and just having the goal there. So how do you stay in the pocket but also keep your head in the clouds? Or do you not get your head in the clouds until you earn it?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, honestly, you cannot just say, I'm only going to do this aspect because I'm good at it and I like it. I'm going to ignore these other areas. You cannot ignore those other areas. Whether you're good at them or not, you better be focusing on those other areas until you get a team in place and you get an integrator in place that can then take on those other roles. And then you can really live in your genius. I mean, a really successful business, everybody's in their zone of genius, but that takes time. And you don't just get to wake up one day and you're there. Like that's often for me anyway, it was years of developing to even be in that role. And oftentimes I'll find myself out of that role. And then I'm having a real hard look in the mirror and saying, okay, what changes do I need to make? Because I'm not in the right spot here. I'm not really where I should be. Mm-hmm. And same with everybody else. Like, if somebody else here, I got the wrong butt in the wrong seat, because if it's not, then we're just not going to have that synergy that we need to have.
Jamil, superpower.
Well, my superpower has always been connecting to people and connecting people.
Yep.
Right. I am very much that guy. If I look at anything that brings money into my world right now, it was connecting the dots. Mm-hmm. If I look at the basis of my contribution to Keighley, it was connecting the dots.
Yep.
Connecting to people, creating those long-term connections that have still continued to pay.
But it actually made you money. It's not like this thing that it's like, oh, I'm getting connections for one day down the road to do something. You were making connections to pay your bills.
Yeah, I see connecting the dots as how I extract money from the world.
Right.
And my mind has always worked that way, right? Because I've always looked at, like, if I put this guy and this guy together and I draw a line, can I yank money out of that? Mm-hmm. and it's how I'm wired.
Yeah.
Right. And even today, Bobby and I were having a conversation. We've been sort of dancing around over the last little while. Like, what do we do next? It's nice to have those moments where you're like, what's next?
Yeah.
Right. Where should we focus? And I've been keeping my my mind open and trying to be as receptive as possible. So that I can figure that out. I can figure out those little pieces, right?
Yep.
And at the end of the day, what it took for me to be able to determine the next move was literally going into my mind and putting dots there of who could do what. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, oh, got it.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I was able to connect the dots with the people that I already had in my world, I knew what was next.
So you were like, oh, there's this buyer that I know, an investor wants a property in this area. Who do I need to talk to find a house for this buyer in this area?
Right. Or it's like, hey, I have this one unique skill, or I have these 5 unique skills. I have this unique opportunity here, but I'm missing this piece and I'm missing this piece. And I'm lost because I'm missing these pieces.
And Jamil, you make a lot of really good deposits, like emotional deposits with people. So
absolutely.
You could reach out to me and need something, and I'm going to drop everything to help you because you're just constantly making deposits in my emotional bank account. So
thank you. And it was real that you say that, Jerry, because today I made a phone call to somebody that I wanted to connect the dot. I wanted to draw my line through the dot. I called this guy. It's been months since we've chatted last. And I said, hey, long time no talk. How you doing? Good. What are you doing? Waiting for you to call. Amazing. Great. Well, this is what I want to do. Are you in? Yes. Thanks. So it's exactly what Jerry said, right? Like I didn't have to, I didn't know the last time I spoke to this person, I didn't know that I was going to need them in the future. There was never, I never have a motive to be nice to you. Mm-hmm. I don't need to be motivated to be nice to you. Your humanity is the reason why I'm going to be kind and love you. But that's what we all should be doing, Jerry, is we should be making deposits into everybody, because you never know when somebody is going to show them or show you how you and they can collaborate together. And if you were nothing but a POS to that person, how are you going to then draw the line, right, and connect the dot? You can't. Yeah, that's at least for me. I'm a dot connector.
For sure.
I need to be able to see those, and then I just draw them, and away I go.
Love it.
100%. Yeah, I used to like fitting that title of integrator, right? Like I used to think it was like, okay, it's like systems, process, but what I've realized is it's really more of like building teams. Like that's where I'm living in like my unique ability. It's, it's identifying, and it's through a lot of learning, the trial and error stages that you talked about. It's like you hire, then you fire, you hire, you fire. Like Jerry talked about, you suck at it at first. And it's like, you have to go down that path. And I think if you really want to build great businesses, then you need to become a great leader. And I think, when I talk to my team now, we have director level, and higher team members at our companies now. And, they'll ask me like, what skills do I need to keep building in my role, I'm like, you already have the technical competencies of like doing the thing, like our CFO. I'm like, you know how to do the financial stuff that you need to do. Your highest skill that you can develop next is leadership, because leaders can develop teams and departments, and you can continue to grow. And when you can lead people, you can create anything, you can lead any type of organization, because you know how to identify talent as a leader, because you know what good looks like.
Sure.
And if you know what good looks like, then you could bring on good people into your company. And when you have good people in your company in the right seats doing the right things, is then when you get the results that you're looking for. And so I think that for me is where, like, I just try to live in, how do I always become a better leader and pour into the teams that I'm building. And by the way you do that is you suck at it when you start. And that's just the path that you have to go through. And then you could shorten the learning curve by going through it fast and, hiring, making mistakes, and then not, licking your wounds for 2 years before you do it again, and going back to that 80-hour work week where you take everything home. It's just, nope, do it again. What did you learn? How could you get better? What books are you reading on that subject to improve your skills?
Let's unpack that, Cody, because I think there's, not enough of us talk about it. I know Brent is, he's a ravenous when it comes to the books he reads.
Yeah.
But are there masterminds? Are there groups? Is there coaching? What can people do to become better leaders? Where can they go? Who can they turn to? Yeah.
So, I mean, on the book side, like, I would say that, John Maxwell has some of the best books on leadership. Like everyone on our organization is, that's one of the books that we have. One of his books are, recommended to pretty much everyone in our company, and even team members that aren't leaders of people. We have them read leadership books, because if people know how to be a better leader, they could lead themselves better, they lead their families better, and then they lead, in everything that they do even better. And even if they're not leading people, it's going to help them be a better person overall. And so, that's, on the leadership standpoint, one of the best things that people can do. And, looking for mentors, looking for, those right places to go to find that. And I don't know if, now is the right time, but, that's something that we're actually putting together. So, myself and our leadership team that we've built, that, Pace and I have, multiple different companies together. And what we've essentially set up is we have this umbrella company, basically, that's just, myself and all of our leaders, like our CFO, our sales director, our head of operations, senior web developer, HR manager, like all of the roles that are required to basically run and build and grow a company. We have that team and myself that, we basically serve and do everything within the other companies that, we've either built, bought, partnered, or whatever.
Right.
And so, what we're actually doing is, we're putting together a program called Scale with Pros, which, you can go to scalewithpros.com, and where basically we're opening up that access to all of our team, where, we've went through the brain damage over years and years now of doing things incorrectly in those areas. And we're basically just trying to help show people, okay, here are some of those best practices that you can learn from us. And, the reason we called it scalewithpros.com is not scale with Cody, because I think it would be, it wouldn't be fair to the team that I've built to say that, hey, it's all me, because it's myself and the team.
Sure.
And the leaders that we have that are, have become experts in these areas. And so, one of the big sections in there is, focus on leadership for literally over a dozen hours of content of just building things, and like, how do you hold people accountable, and how do you find, like you were talking about, that, transferring that, energy to the people that you bring in, so that they own it, like they feel like they're owners. And, one of the things that I talk about is, I look at, when people talk about like compensation in the workplace, it's like, I call it total rewards. Like, what are all of the rewards that someone can earn working in our company? And there's stages of rewards. And I look at the base level is somebody gets a salary or an hourly wage from the company. That's like the first step. The next is benefits. Are they getting health insurance? Are they getting, retirement plans? Like, are they getting that? Another layer that we add to total rewards is personal development bonus, basically, where we'll pay $5,000 to send team members to workshops so that they can go grow their professional skills. Awesome. We'll pay for them to, learn those things. And, then from there is bonuses. Like, can they earn bonuses if they produce? Like, if that rep on the team, produces X amount of sales that week or that month, can they get an additional bonus on top of their comp? And then there's all the way to profit share, which is, you know, maybe you have a high level operator in your company that's like running the whole show, and you're like, man, like I don't want to lose this guy or girl. You know, they already have a salary. They already got some benefits. They already got all of these things.
How to apply the golden handcuffs.
That's it.
And then there's profit share.
Ownership.
Yeah. Ownership, profit share, all that is right.
Yep.
You know, it's interesting that you're doing this, Cody, because as I was asking that, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, man, wouldn't it be brilliant if somebody in the know who's done it, somebody like this guy, put something together where you could actually turn to and say, okay, look, I'm trying to develop as a leader. I'm trying to develop my team in leadership. I want to scale. I want to do something larger than what we've got right now.
Yep.
And I feel like I've got the key ingredients, but I just don't know how to make a good soup. Right. And you do need to come to the people who have already done that before, folks who have scaled multiple companies, been able to do this from a systematic and a replicatable process. That's the thing, guys. It's got to be systematic and it needs to be replicatable. If it ain't systematic, you can't replicate it. Right. And so the key, I think, of what these guys are
growth.
Right. And how I know that what they do works is, well, hey, they're out there buying more companies so that they can continue to apply their system, which they've been able to replicate so that they can scale the company and make more money. So that's pretty dope, dude.
Yeah, it's like
it's pretty cool.
Like the thing that I always tell, like, you know, like we're buying, we're closing on a cleaning company we're buying right now, and like, you know, we talk about like with these business owners, it's like every business, you know, there's like certain ingredients that you have to do to like get, you know, but then doing them in the right order to get them to succeed, like baking a cake. Like if you do the wrong order, like the cake's going to come out, it's not going to rise correctly, or there's going to be some weird taste to it or something. It's the same with the business, like doing the right things in the right order to get the right result that you're looking for.
I love that. I love it.
What I'm wondering, Cody, is like when Pace comes up with some like harebrained idea, do you have to tell him like, Pace, that's a stupid idea, we're not doing that? Or like, how do you handle such a high visionary guy? Because someone's got to then do all that work with the great idea.
Yeah. I think I think as over the years have went by, like, you know, with me and Pace particularly, it's like a lot of the ideas now are just, you know, buying not new businesses, but buying already successful businesses, which I can get behind that. You know, it's like, I'll take those crazy ideas. You know, sometimes I'll have to tell him no. Yeah. Like sometimes, you know, he's like, oh my gosh, he's like, I met this guy, they have this business, and then they send it, and I'm like, Pace, they're losing hundreds of thousands of dollars, their team's a mess, and they aren't coachable. And I don't know, man. Like, you know, you got to have, like, I say there's like 3 keys to, you know, especially when we're like buying a company, but just when you're building a team too, it's like, I say you need to have people that are humble, people that are hungry, like they need to be hungry to grow professionally and personally. And then they need to be smart, but not just smart.
I thought we were going to say honest, and I was going to be it's Triple H.
People smart. Because the thing is, like, you guys ever had in your organization, you have someone that they're just so freaking great at their role, but they're such a freaking knucklehead, and they just like butt heads with everyone around them.
Yeah.
And like, you have to like put them in a box.
Bobby, do we know anybody like that? Not you. He's looking at me like I'm not, but
calling him out.
Not at all. He's not a knucklehead. But I mean, no, you get people like that. People who are actually they're talented. They're just miserable.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to have, like, their attitude is just so terrible that it's like,
you can't help
dude,
them.
like you're your own worst enemy.
Yeah.
You've got all these skills. You've got talent. There's so many great, incredible things about you. You're loyal. You're this, you're that.
Yes.
Yet every time you walk into a room, you depress the whole room, right? Like your energy is that bad.
Yeah.
And is there any hope for those people, or should we just throw them away?
I think there's hope. Okay, so like one of the things, like, because a question that, you know, that people have been asking us, like, when we're going in and like buying a company, do we just go and rip out the team and fire everyone?
Yeah.
I don't believe in doing that, first of all.
Right.
Like businesses don't move people move businesses, is my belief. And so we want to love on the people that are in the business. And so there's 2 paths, and every person gets the choice in the company, that you can either be coached up or you're coached out. Your choice is based on your humbleness, your hunger, and your people smarts. And those things, need to be there to actually be able to continue in the organization. And so I think there is hope for those people, but they have a lot of work they have to do. They need to be reading a lot of books. They need to do the work up here, and here, because some of that's hard. It's like, how are you just such a butthole to people? But so I think some of those things are harder. It's like, I would rather train an honest, happy, nice person a skill than train a butthole, how to be nice and honest and, treat people right.
Well, I think that I think you also find people that are very good at tasks, at just getting tasks done.
Yeah.
And that frustrates a lot of people because they're just going to do the task the way that they were taught to do it, as opposed to taking ownership of it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not a lot of movement in the creativity that they have towards what they're supposed to be doing. They're just going to be like, I need you to tell me what to do. And they get a lot done,
Mm-hmm.
but that can rub people the wrong way as well too, because they're like, I'm waiting on you. I need this done. You know what I mean?
That's exhausting. And I think that's where I think when people are first hiring their teams, where they end up working more because now they're doing their work and part of the work of their team member, because the team member isn't able to do the tasks on their own.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I coach our internal team leaders and the people that we partner with. I'm like, we manage based on outcomes, not on tasks. Like, this is how the sausage should look when it's done. Right. I don't care how the sausage is made on the way. It's just, This is, as long as we're following our company's, core values, our mission, our vision, like all of those things are true. Y'all figure out how do we get to this end result of the sausage. But, it's like that. I think that's a part that people struggle with too, is like they try to manage team members by like micromanaging every little thing they do. And it's just like, that's the way to burn out as a leader too.
Mm-hmm. Guys, we're at the back half of this show. We're going to be getting into a lot of questions. So if you have real estate or wholesaling specific questions, throw them in here. You guys have been putting some awesome ones in there that we'll get into here in just a few minutes when we, kind of wrap up our conversation here with scaling and growing and leadership. And I think energy is super important. I think that coming in, batteries are included, having authentic enthusiasm for what you're doing really sets the tone. You know what I mean? You just have somebody that walks in and you're like, you know what? This person's awesome. This person has great energy. And it's not like a fakey type of, shelling up, being over like bombastic to kind of hide insecurities, but just genuinely excited for whatever's going on, that there's a project that we're going to go conquer. We're going to do it together and be really inspirational, be really a part of it. And I think that you need that in an operator.
More
you need
so
somebody that's going to go in
more
and do
so
that.
than skill. I mean, if you take somebody that's got that phenomenal attitude, great energy, but they don't know anything about the business, I take that guy all day long.
Every time.
Somebody with 20 years experience, but stuck in their ways and not teachable and bad attitude.
I tell our team members, and unfortunately we had to let someone go actually this last week. And, there's like in our organization, we encourage, like one of our core values is we bring solutions before problems. And it's just, it's to get people to critically think. Like we want critical thinkers in our organization and to encourage also, it's like, it's okay to make mistakes is, that's something we always tell our leaders and our team. It's like, guys, it's okay to make mistakes. Don't be scared to make mistakes. Just don't make the same one over and over again. Like that's, and we just say it's like our, we want learners in our organization, not non-learners. And in my opinion, non-learners are the people that do the same thing. And it's like Groundhog Day. You have that same conversation of like, hey man, like, or, hey, like we had this conversation 2 weeks ago and here we are again, having the same conversation. Like that's a key distinction. Like on our team is just like, guys, we can't tolerate non-learners. It's okay if someone makes mistakes, but like if they acknowledge, okay, I messed up. What did you learn? Like, that's what I want to know is what did they learn from an experience so that they can be better next time? And how can we help coach them along to not make that mistake again? Right. Yeah. And so that's definitely a big thing, Jerry, like you're saying, it's like you want people that are coachable. And, we look at that as like, you're a learner or a non-learner.
So, Cody, who is it for? Who is your coaching this product for? Is it for the business owner? Is it for the individual wanting to start the business? Is it for the person in the business who is at a leadership level and wants to be a better leader? Is it for all of the above? help me understand who our avatar is, because I think, guys, these are incredibly important skills. And, I'm tempted to do it. Like, I'm tempted to learn so that I can be a better leader. I want to be a better leader always, right? If there's there's one thing that I could learn this year that would help me be a better leader with my team, I'm all in.
Yeah.
So help me understand who this is for. Is it for a guy like me? Is it for a guy like Bobby? Is it for a guy like Brent? Is it for a guy like you? For all of us?
Yeah. 100%.
Jerry?
Yeah. So
iguanas.
so I would say it's for people that, want to go from that solopreneur stage and, build a business beyond themselves. And for those people that have done that are ripping their hair out because they have a team, but they somehow haven't got any of their time back. They're just still like stuck in everything. And so, I'd say people that are, maybe they're a little bit newer in their business. They're trying to go from, maybe they're at 6 figures, trying to go to 7 figures to 8 figures a year. All of the principles that, we're teaching throughout is everything that we utilize in companies, at the 6-figure mark that we can take then to 7 figures a year and then 8 figures a year in revenue. And so it's for that business owner to be able to go through. But I would also say it's, for those, if somebody has, a team member or a specific leader that's helping, build out their company, that's something that they could put their team member through as well, right, and that they could learn those skills. And I find that obviously when team members are all thinking in the same way and rowing kind of all in that same boat, going in that same direction, learning those same things, having that same type of language, it really helps the organization move forward. And so I would say it's definitely for anyone that, has that desire to go to, 7 figures a year or go to 8 figures a year if they're already at 7 figures. These are all principles that work from our real estate businesses that we've built to, we bought a luxury plant company that, I was talking with Brent about before the show, and they already were doing a few million a year, and, we're helping them double their business in their first calendar year from the same principles that we teach people how to do. But I think the biggest thing that I'm excited about within it is the community aspect and the accessibility where, everyone that's in this community will actually get access to not just myself, but our team. Yeah. Because our team are the ones that are helping execute on this stuff from an operational standpoint, from finance to sales to marketing, HR, hiring, building hiring funnels, like all of those things that you need to put the business together. So it's really for anyone that, wants to go faster and wants to, be able to have that access. Like I know for me, the reason, I wanted to put this program together for people is I wish that I could just text a CFO or, message a high level operations person or a leader that's built multiple, large companies and get these complex answers to my questions that I'm like, I don't know what to do because I've never hired someone. What do I even what's the paperwork look like? What do I, it's like all of those granular things that people don't know how to do. And there's, you don't really find those answers online anywhere.
Right.
So
that's dope. What's the website again, Cody?
It's scalewithpros.com.
Scalewithpros.com. Can we get to some questions here? You guys ready?
Let's do it.
I saw one question that was way up in the beginning. I wanted to touch on and get Cody to maybe say something about, but it was something about the, you train talent and then that talent leaves and maybe
here you go. Can you see it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
I got you, Jerry.
I love
Come
it.
on, man.
I love it.
Yeah, you read my mind, Brent.
So,
I mean, here's how I look at this. And then Cody, I want to hear your, I look at this like, I would rather train people and then they leave than not train them and they stay.
Bingo.
Right?
Bingo.
Like that might happen. It's okay. But everyone's on their own journey, but you've got to train your people to be really good at what they do. And if you're fearful that they're going to quit and leave, I mean, not everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur, right? We know that.
Yep.
So I don't know. I see that. I get this question all the time for some reason. People are very fearful of, I bring someone on, I teach them the business. Now they're going to run out and leave me and go do it. And I just created a competitor. And I think that's a real scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. I've done that so many times. How many people have we hired at Keegley that we've trained that have come out and turned into monsters out there?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They're doing incredible big things. And, every one of those people I applaud. I think, congratulations. Good for you. I'm happy that you are successful and that it's working out and that you, at least I was able to work with you in that time because you're special and you know it.
Mm-hmm.
I think, of course, be grateful that you have the radar to be able to find those human beings, and be grateful that you get those human beings in your world for the time that you get them, right? Use each other, get the most value that you can get from each other in the time that you have each other. And when it's time to go, bless each other and let them go.
I give big salaries. I don't think there's a person on my team that has a base less than $60,000, right? And in real estate, that's unheard of.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, well, you need to have your sales guys on all commission. That's what keeps them hungry.
No, dude.
It's not the truth.
No.
I'm telling you, you can recruit really, really top tier people that want that security and the upside.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, especially when we're starting out, it's like commission only is like this cheat code. It's like, I can have people work. I can have people work for me.
And then
I
they offer
don't-
them like
I
20%
don't
commission.
Has it ever worked for you?
Never,
ever for
ever.
me. Has it ever worked for you?
No,
I'm going to
small
have people
base-
cold
base
call and I'll give
commission.
them 25% of the deal.
Yeah.
It
then
will
they get no deal.
not
Never work.
It
Jerry,
will
has
not
it
work.
ever worked for you? Let's just
No.
solve this riddle for everybody once and for all.
No, because the problem is in wholesale real estate, especially in the beginning, it's up and down. And so
Long
how
sales
somebody,
cycles.
you have long sales cycles and inconsistency. And so it just won't, they'll leave. They'll leave.
What I have found is with bigger salaries, they want to stick around. And if you hire winners, they are just going to win.
Yeah.
They're going to be competitive.
Mhm.
You find people that are competitive and want to win, and you set goals together, and you review it weekly, 2 times a week, and you do quarterly bonuses, and you do these type of things, and you get really excited when you hit those things. That's what it's about. It's not about you got to do commission only, go sell Kirby vacuums door to door type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can have a nice base and give smaller commissions, but with a ton of upside. And you can give things like health insurance,
Yeah. Crazy.
and dental.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You know what I mean? People
Yeah.
love it.
100%. And I would think too on that, like the skilled people wanting to run their own squad, like I would say most people are too scared to go do that anyways. Like that's a big thing, is like most people want the security of an operation that they have a good place. And so here's the thing that I do to try to mitigate it is like Jerry talked about, it's like, if they end up staying and you don't train them, what's the consequence then? Is then your business stalls out, you get stuck because your people aren't growing, and your business will only grow to the level of the personal development of all of the team that's there. And then you'll stagnate out, and then you're going to eventually, start to go
Say
backwards.
that one more time, Cody, so they can hear it in the back.
Your business only will grow to that of the personal level, personal development level of you as the leader and, the leaders that you have in the company. And so, for me, I don't suggest books for our team to read. I prescribe books to team members to read. I prescribe workshops that they need to go to because they need to grow. And because I know if they're growing in those areas that it's going to help the business. And I think that some people get that scarcity and when they don't know how to hire great people either. Like we have our hiring dialed in, like we have a funnel, of how we hire great people. And so I just know we're going to hire great people when we hire. Yes, do we make mistakes occasionally, but it's few and far between at this stage anymore. And so when you can learn to get great people, you don't have to worry about, okay, I'm going to be able to replace them if they leave. And I don't say that in a negative way of like everyone's replaceable. It's more like, no, I'm so confident that we can find A players that I'm totally fine to love on the A players that we have in our company and to help them just continue to grow. And think about, why do people leave companies? I think that's a great question to ask. Why do people actually leave companies? They don't feel appreciated. They don't feel like they're earning what they deserve. You take credit for their work as the managers. It's managers treat them like crap. There's a lot of reasons that are totally preventable by having great leadership and great culture. They leave toxic cultures. I mean, I think if we eliminate the 10 different things that cause people to leave companies, it keeps people there. Like why would you want to leave if you're earning great money? You have benefits,
Mhm.
you have, and I know not everyone's going to be able to provide that starting off, right? But it's like, if you have a great culture, you care about your people, you treat them right, you follow through, you say you're going to do something for them, you do it, you do all of those things. Why would they leave? And then
The
if they
only
do,
time only thing I've seen was greed. Was the only time that I saw
Yeah.
that happen was.
and that goes to humble. The
Yeah.
humble part of humble, hungry, and
Yep.
people smart is like,
Yep.
got to be humble. It's like,
Yep.
you're not the
we
owner.
missed the humility part, because
Yeah.
here's the thing, right? When I hired Homeboy, what was the question in our interview that I thought won it? I was like, what do you want? What do you want out of this job? He's like, I want your desk. I want your seat. I
Yeah.
want your job.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come and get it, motherfucker. But I hired that dude, right? And then what did he do? He went off and did lots of shenanigans out there, but at the end of the day, I'm trying to say this as politically correct as possible, right? Greed got the best of him.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right? Greed. He had one of the most incredible opportunities and circumstances and situations around him. And then there was just that thing in him that said, I can do this by myself and keep all the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is what ended up getting him, and actually it blew up in his face, right? It blew up in his face. It was the lesson he needed, because the greed humbled him, and I'm sure now if I have no animosity for this guy either. That's why I don't want to say his name and like knock him, because I
Is somebody that worked for you
he
for a
worked
while?
for me for a long time. Yeah, he was great, phenomenal at
What
wholesale.
role?
Acquisitions.
Yep.
Phenomenal at it, right? And so and I'm sure he's learned his lesson, and things are better for him now, and I have nothing but good wishes and good energy towards him, and I want him to win, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But I know that greed got the best of him, and that was the decision that let him out the door.
Mhm.
How do we know that that's happening to us? Because it's happened to me in my life too. Greed has gotten the best of me. That's why I got myself into the $1 million Ponzi scheme,
Mhm.
right? That was greed. I can own it because I can identify what the emotion was that put me in that ridiculousness,
Yeah.
right? But how do we stop ourselves from going down that line, and how do we regulate ourselves to make sure that we don't make decisions? Because if you are in a company right now and it's a great opportunity, and you got that little greedy voice in the back of your head saying, we can do this by ourselves, let's go. Like,
I
how do
think
you put that under control?
I think if a lot of people actually could review the P&Ls of the businesses that they work for, they'd be like, ooh, I don't know if
Maybe
I
I'd be
don't know.
better off by myself. I'm better off in the seat that
Yeah,
I'm in
gonna
right
just
now.
stay here.
Yeah, that's
This isn't too bad. But it's actually funny. We were interviewing for a senior marketing role, and we actually hired someone today for it. But we had a final interview with someone last week, and it was a similar question to me. We had this guy in the interview. He had already done a few things in the interview that were red flags that I'm like, yeah, this guy's probably not going to make it. And we have a pretty extensive interview process of like we had like over 100 people applied for the role. We had like 15 cultural preliminary interviews that our recruiter did. Then we had like 5 technical, and these 2 got to the final stages. This guy asked me in the interview, he's like, what do you think about me getting equity in the company? And I'm like, you've provided 0 value to the company so far, sir. So I didn't say that, but I was just like, it's a great question. Currently we're not doing that. And so, but the thing is, we do open for bonuses.
That in the interview?
He said that in the interview.
Wow.
In the interview. And I was in my head, I'm like,
What was the job he's interviewing for?
senior marketing role.
All right.
And it's like, yeah, and we explained, it's like you can get bonused off of performance, and then
Mhm.
profit share off of lines of business that you're creating results for. But that was something that was a red flag to me, and
I would
I was
say so.
just like,
Yeah.
you have provided no value. If someone was in that role and after a year they're like, I've made the company X amount of dollars, I've produced these results, I've tracked it by these measurements, I'd like to earn more money, like, let's have a conversation. Like, yes, like we already have things in place of like how they're gonna grow in their role, their salary and bonus, and eventually profit share could open up, but not the right thing to ask in an interview.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
In your opinion,
Wow.
what's the difference between recruiting and somebody applying?
Okay,
You
so
know what I mean? Because
yeah.
like sometimes you want to go after the talent.
Yes.
Sometimes you want to throw some stuff at them. Sometimes you want to make it,
Yeah. So it
really desirable to work there.
Yeah. So I think it depends on the role too, and like what they're going to be doing. But so like and we have an HR manager, so he does this stuff, but like he usually goes down two paths. Like for a more senior role, he'll actually do outreach to people in those types of roles at other companies that we would maybe potentially be interested in hiring someone from. So he'll do actual direct outreach trying to recruit. And then we'll actually have job ads out that we're getting applications in. So he does a mix of those two when it's a more senior role. More entry-level roles, like, if it's an individual contributor, just someone doing a thing, like we're not going to, we're just going to put a hiring ad up and, sort through the applications.
Norton, you do this all from remote parts of the, country. You have one of the most lifestyle-driven businesses I've ever seen, and you do it better than anybody I know. How are you doing your hiring?
Have you seen his video of him building that 11,000 square foot house on his YouTube channel?
No.
Awesome.
The one that Pace lives in?
No. The one in Costa Rica that he's pouring 4 stories of concrete.
Oh, no. I haven't seen that. Is it a new video on his? Is it a new video on your channel, Jerry?
It's awesome.
Yeah, I just did like a walkthrough, like an update on it.
Awesome. Yeah. But I mean, you're definitely, I think you're able to do this all remotely. You've got a tremendous eye for talent for being able to do that. What's your secret, Jerry? How are you doing this?
Well, it's interesting you ask that, because most people, when they look at like a business opportunity, like a deal or a project to bring on or another business or whatever, they look at it solely through the lens of financial gain. And for me, that's actually second. Like that's important. But for me, it's first lifestyle filter. So I have to look at that project and say, okay, what's this going to require of me, my time, my energy, my brain power, my bandwidth, even if there's a good team or I've got a good, operator or builder, whatever, like, what is this going to require? And I'm very careful to protect that lifestyle, because it doesn't, at this point in my life, it doesn't really matter. More money doesn't really move the needle any. Like I'm not going to do anything different in my life. If I have more money, I'm going to do the exact same thing I'm already doing. So then why keep doing it? So I really have to think through carefully. And I feel very fortunate. I wasn't always in that place. It's taken a long time. There used to be a time where it was like, how much money does it make? Let's go. But I think people get themselves in a lot of trouble that way, where they start to take on stuff purely for a financial perspective. And then you find yourself like doing all these things, spread really thin, big team, big overhead, big anxiety. And so I try to just really protect lifestyle as much as I possibly can. I don't always get it right, but when I see it's off, I try to do a lot of course correction.
So something on that, Jerry, that I actually have, I have it in my phone. When I'm making like big decisions on like commitments of like either a business deal to get involved in or anything like that, I have questions that I ask myself, because I was like, I need to like have like a life filter tool of like what things I want to be involved in or not be involved in. And some of these questions are like things that basically it's a filter of like, I know I'm successful when, and one of those things is I only work on companies that I'm excited to work on. I only work with people that are inspired, excited, happy, and growth oriented. I only take on projects and companies that will align with keeping peace in my life. My work is location independent. Regardless of what offices my companies have, I could show up when I want, and I could travel when I want and work remote when I want to. So it's like I have a bunch of other things on there, but it's like all these filters, it's like we have these filtering mechanisms for like other things we do in business. And it's like, how do we, keep, our filters on to not, like Jamil was talking about, roll into like where we just do something because of the greed of like making more money, when for most everyone that's on here, it's like doing something for more money isn't going to actually change any of our personal lifestyles. It's just going to be another,
which means
zero.
You have to say no to a lot of great opportunities. You have to say no, even though it's a great opportunity, because it just doesn't.
What are you saying no to right now? I'd like to hear what we're rejecting right now in our lives. What are you saying no to right now, Jerry, that is you just don't got the bandwidth for?
Like, for example, I've got a policy now where I don't want to take on a rehab, like a fix and flip.
Yep. If
it's not a really easy cosmetic flip and it's not a 6-figure net profit minimum, like I don't want to touch it, So like, that's just one example, because it's not worth the extra work to take on a big project. And then even then, like right now, it's funny because Brent was talking about this at the beginning of the show. I got this little rehab a couple streets over, and it's an $800,000 house. And, you know, I'm all in for 6. We're selling it for 825, you know, and you know, in all intents and purposes, that's a great deal. You know, I'll net 175 or whatever after commissions, and a great little flip, right? Well, at the same time, I'm doing a new build where I'm all in for 3 million and I'm selling for 6 to 7 million. I'd have to do like 25 of those little flips to match the one. And I'm asking myself, like, why am I doing this flip right now? Like, why am I doing that? What is wrong with me to be doing this deal right now? And so, like, I'm constantly trying to.
He's hilarious. He's like those are his turd deals.
I know.
I love you, Jerry. Oh, you're such a boss, dude. That's so good.
He's hilarious. You said something in the video, Jerry, that was great, and you're going to have to correct me on it because I don't know it word for word, but basically the gist is what will the buyer of your deal forgive you for, and what is it, Jerry?
Yeah,
it's
so
like,
the market will penalize you and it will reward you.
Yeah.
You know, and so what can you get away with where the market will penalize you, but minimally? And then what things can you do that will reward you a lot?
Yep.
Right. And so, like what I was saying, you know, the smartest flippers aren't the ones that make the nicest house. It's the one that makes the most money.
That's right.
Meaning you figure out what you can get away with and not do and what you need to do. And, you know, like that's just the game, because anybody can go in and over renovate and overspend and make the thing beautiful, and then you lose money. Like, I don't know. I've done that. I think everyone's done that in the flipping game. And you're like, wow, look at this amazing house. I lost money. Right? So yeah, I was talking about that a little bit. Yeah.
But that takes a lot of reps.
So you're saying no to anything that's not making millions, essentially? Is like, if it's going to be $250,000, $500,000, you're like, leave that for Jamil?
I mean, not exactly, because I'm building some wholesale businesses and those aren't there yet. But the goal is like, how do we get there as quick as possible? I do not want to run a wholesale market that's not making, you know, $1 million plus a year. If we're not all on the same page with that, then what are we doing, guys? Let's stop. Right. So I'm just trying to have that vision of like, how do we go big? I'm just like more margin over volume kind of thought process.
I love that. I love that. It's a very efficient way to, you know, I have somebody in the Astro community, Nick Saltzman. I had an opportunity to interview him a couple of days ago, and phenomenal guy. He's the guy who finds his own wholesale deals so he can fix and flip them and then lists them all himself. Like, this is the guy. He's like the Native American who kills the buffalo. You know what I mean? Like, he's using every piece of it, you know, and he's not letting anything go to waste, which of course, right? Because when I ask him why, he's like, well, dude, because I can do 6 of these in a year and make the same amount of money that I would make if I did 60. And I'm way happier.
Well, if you look how much spread is built into every wholesale.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what Jerry's talking about. He's talking about the efficiencies. You know, there's an inherent efficiency in going vertical in things and being very selective about the projects that you're working on, and being able to be involved in that thing from start all the way to its final product, so that you're not losing money here, paying a fee here, paying a commission on this. The smartest way to do it is to have all that be in-house and be fully ahead of it. So I mean, I love that, Jerry. I think that's great. Well, and there's no wonder why you're a flipping genius.
Well,
you want to take this one?
You know what? Well, what's funny, what I wanted to say to that too is, you know, Jamil, it's like, it's just as much work to do a little deal as a big deal, or, you know what I mean? Or like, I love what Donald Trump said. He says, if you're going to think anyway, you might as well think big. Like, there's a certain amount of like, where just showing up is like, takes up a certain amount of effort. Well, if I'm going to show up anyway, why don't I show up as big as I can? Because I'm showing up. I've decided to show up. So let's just show up all the way, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But listen, there's way more effort going on in that 11,000 square foot, 4-story concrete pool, walkout pool. He's not putting it in the ground, Jamil. He's putting this suspended in this house, the pool. It's bananas.
Well, I'm going to watch the video, but what are you saying no to right now, Brent?
Travel. a lot of, I'm really working to get my business to all incoming leads.
Love that.
So I'm really focused on PPC,
Yep.
PPL,
Yep.
and getting back with TV locally.
Cool.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that. How about you, Cody?
Oh, I mean, I'd say for me, it's just like saying no to opportunities that are marginal. I mean, in the buying business space right now that, I'm focusing in, it's just deals that I could get into that, have a really good likelihood that, I know an easy path to double them within 12 months, and that within 3 years, we can be able to exit them and, make some Jerry money on those when we exit them. So, I mean, I'm pretty much saying no to anything outside of that. And I'm also saying no to most of Arizona summers, so that's, just getting out.
What are you going to do?
I mean, we're going to Costa Rica. We're going to go to,
for how long?
Going to Costa Rica on Thursday for a week, but just bouncing around, during the summertime.
Being a nomad?
A little bit.
That's cool, dude.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Just, like this summer, we'll probably do like maybe a month and a half, 2 months out of Arizona for the summer.
Awesome.
And, eventually find somewhere where we'd like to actually be snowbirds officially.
He's got that real money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you call it a snowbird when you're leaving the heat, or are you leaving heat? Are you a heat bird?
Heat wave or heat stroke bird or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think it's a snowbird still. Yeah.
Is it a snowbird? Snowbirds come here because it's snowy.
Well, where do they go when they leave?
The
sun?
sunbird?
Is it sunbird? Is it sunbird?
I don't know. Sunbird.
Okay.
I just want to be in 75 to 85 degree weather 11 and a half months a year.
Flagstaff is 2 hours away.
Yeah. He's saying all the things.
Beach.
He wants to be in California that's not California.
Yeah,
where the water's warm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hawaii,
right, where the
Costa Rica.
Okay, that's because the water's not warm.
Yeah, I don't go in that water.
No,
it's a freezing.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Anyway.
Jamil. Here.
I'm saying no to things that aren't making me happy.
Good.
Yeah, if it's not making me smile, it's not getting my attention. That's it. I want to laugh, I want to smile, I want to be happy all the time.
Were you doing things that were?
Oh hell yeah, dude! I was talking on stages for people I didn't respect and didn't care about.
Yeah.
I was helping folks that honestly, when I would take a look at what their business models were and how they were showing up in the world, I had no business being there.
Right.
And so no, for me, that's a no. I don't care about your summit, or I don't care about your event. None of you guys. You guys are my people. I love you guys. But you guys have seen, I've said no a lot, and I'm going to continue to say no. So don't ask me.
Yeah. I have a
Where you at, Jamil, with the show
or land. Yeah. I don't know what to do. Ask for comps or evaluate it. What questions should I ask? What should you ask about vacant land?
Vacant land. Okay, so Pharrell, I love that. Pharrell, the Flow Poet. Ooh, good name, dog. Okay, so land. It's there. Land's not all equal, right? Are we talking infill land? Are we talking land out in the outskirts? Are there developments near this land? Are we in the middle of a development? All that's going to be very, very important. You got to understand your zoning. So your zoning will tell you what your density is going to be. And you've got to see what's happening around it. What's happening around it is going to tell you what's going to happen to it. Okay, that's the easiest way for you to understand what your piece of land will do is what did a neighbor do? That's it. What did the neighbor do? If the neighbor is a single family house, then the good chance yours is going to be a single family house. If your neighbor is just land for days, then yours is probably going to stay land for days. Right? So take a look at what's around it. What's around it is informing what it is. So how you price it then is very much a product of what's around it. So to give you another example, if we're talking infill land, right? If you're talking a piece of dirt in the middle of Phoenix that, let's just say a house burned down, okay? In whatever neighborhood it is. I don't care if it's West Phoenix, East Phoenix, South or North. A house burns down and now we got a vacant lot. Okay, well, to me, that's called an infill lot. Okay, an infill lot's usually going to trade at about 25% of what the final product would sell for. Okay, that's where I need to be in order for this to make sense for me to go and reconstruct a house there. So to give you an example, right now in Phoenix, if I'm going to be able to sell a new construction house for $400,000, I would want to be paying how much for the lot? $100,000. Right? And I do that all day. I buy those lots all day long for $100,000 that I can sell the house for $400,000. And that means that you need to get it for a little below that in order for a builder to want to buy it. Now, if we're talking the outskirts of the city, and maybe it's a little bit farther away, and I might need to do a little bit more work, but there's still zoning, there's still an opportunity, and there's still developments around it. Now you're talking about 10% of what the product is going to actually sell for, because we're a little bit farther out. Right. So the more desirable price point as well, the more desirable the piece is, the more it's going to be worth. Again, Jerry, you're doing these new construction builds in Paradise Valley that are selling $4 or $5 million. Are you paying $1 million for the lot?
Well, we were. Prices are a little different now, but yeah, $1 million was about for a 1 acre lot. North-south facing, we were paying about $1 million.
And where are you at now? But what are you paying now for that same dirt?
But you're right. It's equal because now it's a $6 million, not a $4 million. So we're paying.
So now you're $1.5 million.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's always 25%. The ratio is 25% on an infill, whether we're talking a little house in Maryville or a mansion in Paradise Valley. But then when you get to the outsides is where you got to be at about 10%. And then when we're talking like outside, like outside, there's nothing there, like nothing there. Don't buy that.
They'll give you it. They'll just
they'll
deed
give
it over to you.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to pay property taxes on it. I was doing land for like a solid year, just sending out offers. People would just send us the deeds.
Oh, yeah. Here you go.
Like,
I'm tired of this thing. I pay
swear
taxes
to you,
on it.
I swear to you, they would send us the deeds already signed and be like, please sign and record this. And I was
Hilarious.
like, huh.
Whose problem is this? Right?
Yeah, right?
No,
you can make a couple $100 on those. People buy that land, but it's it's interesting because the land business where you just send out letters or offers and they send it back, it works. It's just out there.
Yeah.
Ash Fork, Arizona.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, anyway, there you go. Awesome. This is a great question here. Lexi, what advice can you give to the girlfriend of a wholesaler that is obsessed? I want to be more help, but I am completely opposite of a salesman. How do I get better? First of all, what a partner.
I know,
right?
dude.
What a partner here, Lexi.
If it doesn't work out with your guy, send me a DM.
Wow.
I mean, for real though, that right there, that's a lady, she's trying.
What would you do? To help support somebody that is really, their mind is always on business. They really want to achieve. They're going.
Yes, support that. Love it. Love on that, because there's something when you have that kind of energy around you, that person is going somewhere for sure. And you can either support that, grow with it, and be a part of that opportunity. And Lexi, it sounds to me like that's the kind of person you are, right? You're seeing this person beside you get obsessed. You're seeing this person really, really interested about what their next station in life is going to be. That should be your inspiration to be just as obsessed about your station in life coming around the bend as well. And how can you grow as a human, and how can you grow as a partner to support this person? Because let me tell you something, hun. If this individual grows and you don't grow with him, he will grow out of you. And the relationship will die. And I'm sorry to have to say that. It's terrible, but it is true. You have to continue to grow with this person. You guys have to do this together. Your job is to be as obsessed, as caring, as supportive, because this is going to be something that the two of you are going to be able to take and create a family with and do things with. If that's the goal, right? If that's the goal. And if it's not the goal, then take what you're seeing right now and take notes, take example of what this looks like, because the kind of obsession that you're talking about right now is rare. You ain't going to find this guy on Tinder. You ain't going to find this guy on Bumble. He doesn't live there, right? Why? Because he lives in his business. This person lives in tomorrow. He doesn't care about what's happening right now. He's not trying to go out and do some things on the online dating site. He's trying to figure out how he's going to get out there and tackle the world. So that's
What
my
if she
opinion.
wants to be part of the business?
I mean, it depends on, again, it goes back to the kind of that unique ability. You know, it sounds like I'm making an assumption here that your boyfriend is obsessed and they're obsessed with the sales aspect of the business. So
Hustling.
yeah, hustling, obsessed with the sales side of it. See what you can do to help with that. Like, that would be the most ideal scenario, is if he loves sales, you don't like sales. Well, the great news is he could do sales, and you probably lean more towards maybe doing some of the other things, maybe organizing his unorganized self, because that's what I found is a lot of times those crazy salespeople are pretty unorganized. They don't know how to put the spreadsheets together, and how does the CRM stay organized so that they could just sell as efficiently as possible. How can you help organize the processes that he's doing in the business if you're actually going to be getting involved in the business? Like, those are all things that you can do to be able to help support them. You don't have to, honestly, just having two people that are out just selling is not going to help the business. Like, you need someone doing other stuff.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't like doing those things, well, support him in those ways. And I'm making a lot of assumptions here because I don't have any more context.
And you two have very supportive people in your world. So what about you, Jerry and Brent? What do you guys say? How could Lexi be an Anne-Marie?
Well, here's what I would say. I mean, definitely just to kind of go along with what Jamil said, you have to align with that vision, because the road of an entrepreneur is a very challenging role. It's a difficult life to be with an entrepreneur because their brain never shuts off. Like 24/7, their brain doesn't shut off. And you have to learn how to work with that. And it's not easy. So if you're on the same path together, then you can learn how to work together and create something amazing. One small tactical piece of advice I would give you, Lexi, is I'm working with a young couple right now, and what the wife does, newly married, she's super supportive, is he's working the full-time job. She's working too, but what she does is they're doing agent outreach, Jamil. And what she does is she queues up the leads. She gets the agent's numbers. She runs it through the deal analyzer. She gets everything all organized for him. And then he comes in, and in his CRM, he's got like 10 leads ready to call with the numbers all figured out. And he can just start doing the calls. So she's saving him a ton of time doing some of that admin. That's what Cody, I think, was trying to say. Yeah. So talk to him and find a way to where you can be that support so that he can stay on the phones if that's what's the right thing there. But if you're just asking that question, like, dude, I'm obsessed with this, and you maybe sounds like, how do I be a part and how can we build something together? Every guy wants a woman on his side, and every woman, I think, wants a man where you guys are aligned in vision and purpose, and you're heading in a direction together. That's what makes a relationship really powerful. That's where 1 + 1 = 10 is, when you're at least both heading in the same direction, have the same vision, aligned together, and building something amazing that you both call your own. Like you're calling it yours together. That's special.
Love that.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine if Aaron was my personality. You know what I mean? I don't think I could ever date or be with somebody that
intense
was good at sales or wanted to get loud or wanted to, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
of course.
And so
you needed that balancing energy.
Yeah, they say there's only one headshot in the household. You know what I mean? That's an old like LA Hollywood type of saying, and I don't know. I just think that I think it's important that Erin has her own thing. She's in the medical. She's a nurse. She does this. That's her spot. That's what fulfills her. And I love that about her. I love that she's not in the business, and I love that she lets me do my thing, and she's a cheerleader.
So that's the thing. So for you,
she has to have her own.
She has her own thing. She has her own thing she's obsessed about. Of course, she's cheerleading you on. She's supporting you by getting out of your way so that Brent can be Brent.
Yeah.
But she's got her own things that make her happy, and she's not seeking her happiness from you.
Yeah.
That's also brilliant. That's a very healthy, beautiful way to have a great life. So there you got it, Lexi. There's all these different ways that you can be supportive. You can take care of yourself and get obsessed with your own thing. You can see how you can be complementary to what he's doing and see if there's parts that you can add to the mix to help this individual do their thing. You could show up with the best of you to want to grow and to want to develop the same way that your man is. Whatever it is, you get to pick your flavor here. But I think the thing that we all heard was you can't do nothing.
Yep. What advice do you give for first-time fix and flippers using hard money lenders?
Wear a diaper.
Oh, don't miss your payments.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Get ready to go over budget. It's going to go over budget, and it's going to sell for less than you think.
Yeah, it's going to cost you more. You're going to make less money, and you'll probably poop your pants.
Yeah. Yep. There. How's that, Joshua?
Very encouraging.
Yeah, don't. Well, I'm not sure what you mean by using hard money lenders. I mean, you're going to be borrowing debt, and maybe that hard money lender is probably not going to fund the entire cost of the project. They typically don't, which means you're either coming out of pocket some or you're supplementing with private money, which is what I like to do. But you want to be fast on that project. Like I put a little story on my Instagram today, and I stopped at the project because it's literally like 2 streets over. So I just stopped by in the morning, and there were literally like 12 guys on this project, and everyone's running around because we run fast, man. And it's high pressure, it's high stress, and it has to be because it's a lot of money, and every day that goes by is costing money. And so it's got to be that way. And it's not for everybody, but like everyone's got to know we got to go. And if you can't handle that, then it's not a good fit, so.
Here's another one that's right in there. Courtney asks, I am a wife who wants to build a real estate portfolio for my family. My husband is not into real estate. He is risk adverse. How can I convince him to buy into the dream with me?
Oh yeah.
Man.
Convince is
it's so hard to convince somebody to do anything. They got to want to do it with you.
A man convinced against the will is of the same opinion still.
Yeah.
That was me and Anne Marie when we started. She was adamant against me doing real estate. And guess what I did, Courtney? I did it anyway. And you know how you get somebody unsupportive to be supportive? Show them success.
Yeah.
That.
They'll get on board real quick.
Yeah, Bobby, we just seen this. We were out on day with Pace over here the last week, and there was what's Rhea's last name? Do you know?
Campbell.
Rhea Campbell. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this woman's incredible. She, her husband's a physician, so he's got his own career and doing all kinds of big stuff. But she's who was a commercial real estate agent who has just like taken her business by storm, right? Yeah. She's raising capital, she's built a fund, she's buying a boutique hotel, she's doing it, right? Like she's all over it. And she was talking about the fact that her hubby isn't really kind of in it with her, right? And so I shared my experience. I was like, well, I'll be honest with you. I had the same thing and it didn't last. Yeah. And I want you to know that you got to bring them with you. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things that the mistake I made was that I was successful in what I did, but I didn't force the subject. I didn't say, hey, you got to come along with me to do this. Otherwise we're probably not going to make it. Right. So Courtney, what I would say is, this doesn't have to be draw a line in the sand, but here's the deal, right? If you're going to go out and build this and you're going to do something that you're proud of, you're going to want this person to be proud of you too. You're going to need it, right? So take a look at the guy beside you and make the assessment, because here's the facts. You might be a millionaire and you might be divorced.
And Courtney, what you're facing is actually very, very normal. Most relationships, you've got gas and brakes, and that's good because if you're the gas, then if you're all gas and there's no one putting the brakes on, then you're going to get out of balance and you're going to be a little reckless. Like, it's good that you have a husband that's probably bringing some brakes to your relationship. Otherwise you would be a train wreck. Right. And that's kind of my relationship. I'm kind of a lot of gas and Anne-Marie's a little more brakes. But what you've got to do is you've got to learn to work together. So if he's all brakes and no gas, it's going to be a challenge. And if you're all gas and no brakes, that's kind of a challenge too. How do you guys work together where it's the right amount of gas and brakes? So maybe it's going a little slow.
Yeah, or maybe maybe the real estate part isn't what's exciting to him, but what you guys can create together is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
right? And so it doesn't necessarily need to be where he's helping you in the real estate part. Maybe there's other aspects of the business that he can be helpful in that aren't like, nuts and bolts of real estate that are still super helpful for you to create. But whatever it is, find a way to create some synergy, find a way to create some cooperation and collaboration between the two of you, because it's going to be necessary in order for you guys to grow together and for you guys to really enjoy this as a unit, which is what you want, right? Why build this dream if there's only going to be one of you there? I'll tell you, living the dream by yourself is a little lonely.
How about you go out and you find an ugly house, you talk to the property owner, you get that property under a purchase agreement, you sell that purchase agreement to an investor in town, you get what's called an assignment fee. This is a check and or a wire that happens at the closing of the transaction. You put $12,500 down in front of your husband and say, there's more of that coming, baby. There's more of that coming. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to put this away until we can buy a real safe investment property. That's what we're going to buy. What do you think of that, honey? You don't think he's going to go for that?
He's going to go for that.
Right.
Well, people get risk adverse about buying a rental because they should be.
Yeah.
You should be. That is not the first step that you do.
No.
I agree, Brent. I think
There you go, dude. He nailed it.
Yeah, you're talking about a portfolio there. Do some transactions first. Bring some cash in. Then maybe build a portfolio, right? I agree with that, Brent. That's great advice.
Yep.
So good.
I just think, and then when you can buy that rental property at a discount, because you know how to source discounted properties now, and you can refinance that and get all of your money back out. Where is the risk? Where's the risk? I'm just telling you, that's how people build these things up. And I know that Burr is not this great strategy with these big interest rates, but if you get really good discounted properties, it can still work.
Yeah, if you can burr into a co-living and still get all your money out plus some and cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing it right now.
Mm-hmm. Jerry, what do you got going on? What do you got releasing this week on the Flipping Mastery YouTube channel?
So it's funny, we've been talking about like these relationships. We actually started doing a show live every Tuesday night with Anne-Marie, and it's this very topic of like, how do you bring your spouse? How do you both get aligned? How do you both create the vision? How do you work together? Some of it's very tactical, like, how we teach our kids about money, and some of it's more like big picture. How do you guys both have a vision together? But it's been a lot of fun because we do it together, and it's a little later, so get your kids to bed. I guess it's 6 p.m. Pacific time. It's 9 p.m. for us. And that's Tuesday. So we're doing that tomorrow on the YouTube channel live. So that's fun.
Awesome.
Do you guys wear like cute outfits when you do that?
Jerry always wears cute outfits.
Matching. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's great. What do you got going on this week?
The same old. I'll be doing straight out of comping on Wednesdays and Sundays. Bring your houses that you guys don't know how to comp, and I'll show you how to do it.
Nice.
Love it. Shoot, man.
You're leaving.
I'm leaving. I'm going to Costa Rica on Thursday. So
what's your favorite part about Costa Rica?
Man, we keep ending up going back to Tamarindo. It's just like a sleepy, surfer town.
Awesome.
And it's just, you can kind of just like, it's just the weather's just like great, like all the time. The ocean is warm, which is important.
Got it.
We actually like
because I know you go there a lot.
We like to surf.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
we like to surf, and then it's a jungle. There's like monkeys running around.
That's neat.
I've
never been to Costa Rica before.
Oh, it's one of my favorite places. The first time I went there, I didn't know really. I don't know. I was just like, I don't know what to expect, but I was like, wow, this is pretty dope. So
sweet.
The site again?
Yeah. So for those that, are looking to scale their business, you can go to scalewithpros.com. Pace and I are actually going to be doing a little challenge with people on there tomorrow night. But yeah, scalewithpros.com to check out more info on that. So
dope.
Awesome. Join me, guys, Wednesday from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock Eastern time, or 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time on the Brent Daniels Real Estate Live show on the Brent Daniels YouTube channel. And for all of you that are in there talking about how awesome inbound leads are, I want to help you do the PPC. Go to talktopeople.com. Go to talktopeople.com. Check out what that is all about. And we're going to get you the hottest inbound leads possible. And that's it. Thank you, guys. On behalf of all of us, Jerry Norton, Cody Barton, Jamil Damji, and Brent Daniels, we love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Later.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing?
I didn't say nothing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Cool. I think we should use the one where Jamil doesn't say anything.